Delmeth's eyes suddenly widened. He immediately recognized Vanessa, the infamous genius who had reached the sixth circle at an unbelievably young age. Then his gaze shifted toward the man standing beside her. Alfoy, the legendary mage who was rumored to have defeated a god. A sinister smile slowly spread across Delmeth's face. Perfect, he muttered quietly. Having two of Fenris's key figures gathered in one place saves me the trouble of hunting them down myself. Meanwhile, inside the magic combat arena, the announcer's voice echoed throughout the stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, the Magic Tower Exchange is about to begin. He explained the rules to the audience and announced that 5 magical duels would be held. Each magic tower would send out disciples to represent their respective factions. Without hesitation, Delmeth called out one of his disciples. Modi, a young mage, stepped forward. Delmeth leaned close and whispered something into his ear. As soon as he heard his master's instructions, Modi revealed a cruel smile. Understood, master. At the same time, an overwhelming aura erupted from his body. The elders beside Hubert immediately turned pale. That's fourth circle mana. They're going all out from the very beginning. Tower Master, who should we send? Another elder quickly suggested matching the enemy with one of their strongest disciples. Hubert remained silent for a moment before asking. Rebero is second circle, correct? The elders blinked in disbelief. Tower Master, surely you're not planning to send a second circle mage against a fourth circle opponent? Hubert calmly explained his reasoning. There is no need to reveal our true strength over something like this. Besides, no matter how large the gap is, they wouldn't dare kill someone during a public exchange. He then glanced toward Vanessa. Even if we lose every match before the end, as long as Vanessa participates in the final duel, we can still preserve our dignity. Although clearly nervous, Rebero stepped forward. Hubert attempted to reassure him. Treat this as experience. Facing someone stronger is a valuable opportunity. Even losing is fine. Rebero swallowed nervously. I understand. Still, his anxiety remained obvious. A 2-circle difference was no laughing matter. Soon, the two competitors stood face to face. The moment the match began, Rebero immediately launched 2 fireballs. However, Modi casually knocked them aside with his wand. Pathetic. He raised his wand and cast Air Cutter. A blade of compressed wind shot forward. Flash. Rebero collapsed instantly. Blood spread across the arena floor. Hubert froze. Meanwhile, Delmeth smiled in satisfaction. His disciple had followed his orders perfectly. Kill them. The elders rushed toward Rebero in panic. He's losing too much blood. We need treatment immediately. He'll die at this rate. Hubert exploded with rage. You bastard. He pointed at Delmeth. Were you trying to murder my disciples from the beginning? Delmeth remained perfectly calm. Calm down. The most surprised person here is probably my own disciple. Nearby, Modi wore an arrogant expression, showing absolutely no remorse. Delmeth laughed mockingly. Who could have predicted that such a weak spell would defeat him? Hubert's entire body trembled with anger. But Delmeth only continued. Casualties during magical duels are normal, aren't they? The announcer hurriedly stepped in. Let's proceed to the next match. The second duel ended just as quickly. Another disciple from Hubert's side fell. Once again, the Crimson Magic Tower showed clear killing intent. By the third match, Hubert's disciple surrendered before the battle even started. The disciples from the Crimson Tower burst into laughter. So this is the strongest magic tower in the north. What a joke. We'd heard rumors, but seeing it ourselves is even more disappointing. You're all trash. On Hubert's side, the elders exchanged worried glances. Their strength is impressive. But something is wrong. This exchange isn't about competition. It's a slaughter. One elder anxiously asked. Tower Master, do we have any countermeasures? Hubert clenched his fists. His expression darkened with frustration. Fueled by anger, he turned toward his remaining disciples. Who will fight next? But nobody moved. Tower Master. Those monsters are trying to kill us. We can't fight them. Delmeth noticed their fear and laughed loudly. If no disciple wishes to participate, his eyes landed on Hubert. Perhaps the Tower Master himself should enter the arena? The entire Crimson faction burst into laughter. Hubert lowered his head. He had underestimated the difference between them. The Flame Magic Tower was finished. But suddenly, pathetic bastards. A voice echoed throughout the arena. Everyone turned in surprise. Walking forward with complete confidence was none other than Alfoy, the man who had defeated a god. "I'll fight." Hubert and the elders stared at him in shock. Delmuth narrowed his eyes. The successor of the flame magic tower. Then it would only be proper to send an equal opponent. A young man stepped forward. "I am Brody, first disciple of Master Delmuth, and the successor of the Crimson Magic Tower." The elders immediately recognized him. The Crimson successor. A fourth circle master. Brody smiled arrogantly. "It's a pleasure to meet you." Alfoy simply nodded. "I'm Alfoy." Hubert hurried over in panic. "Wait. Your opponent is a fourth circle mage. You're only third circle. How can you possibly win?" Alfoy casually cleaned his ear with his pinky. "So what? We haven't even started yet." Then he grinned. "I've beaten a god before." Hubert almost collapsed. For a mage, circle rank was everything. The difference between third and fourth circle should have been impossible to overcome. But from behind them, Vanessa calmly spoke. "Don't worry. Alfoy is arrogant, stubborn. He complains constantly, and he never listens. But weak." Vanessa smiled slightly. "Never." Alfoy raised his wand. Across from him, Brody sneered. "A magic tower successor who's only third circle? How embarrassing." Then his expression became murderous. "You're going to die here." Alfoy's eyes suddenly turned cold. "Die." He pulled out a gold coin and began spinning it across his fingers. "I've nearly died countless times because of that bastard Ghislain." He tossed the coin high into the air. "But today." A confident smile appeared on his face. "Not today." Flick. The coin shot forward like a bullet. Smack. Brody's nose exploded with blood. He crashed onto the ground. The entire arena fell silent. Even Delmuth and Hubert stood frozen. Brody staggered back to his feet while clutching his broken nose. "You bastard. That was a sneak attack. You don't even have the dignity of a mage." Furious, he unleashed a barrage of magic projectiles. Alfoy calmly spoke. "Haste." In an instant, he disappeared. Only his coat remained behind. The projectiles tore through empty air. Brody panicked and fired repeatedly. But Alfoy moved faster than the eye could follow. The distance between them rapidly closed. "Too fast. Stay away from me." In desperation, Brody continued attacking. Alfoy casually cast psychokinesis, table flip. A massive stone barrier rose between them. Brody destroyed it immediately. "Where did you learn such cheap tricks?" But the moment the debris cleared, Alfoy was already standing right in front of him. His fist burned with flames. Fire punch. Boom. The attack slammed directly into Brody's face. He was launched across the arena. Everyone watched in disbelief. Only Vanessa remained calm. She already knew what Alfoy was capable of. Hubert stood speechless. A third circle mage. Overcoming a fourth circle opponent. Impossible. Even Delmuth's expression became serious. Alfoy's mana control was so refined that he barely required any chanting. Such mastery from a mere third circle mage was absurd. Brody had been completely overwhelmed. Alfoy mounted him and began raining down flaming punches. One after another. Like a brutal battlefield execution. "Does it hurt?" Alfoy laughed. What happened to all that confidence earlier? Brody's face had become swollen beyond recognition. Blood poured from his mouth. "Why, you coward?" "I surrender." Before he could finish, Alfoy shoved a fireball directly into his mouth. Flames burst out of Brody's ears. Then Alfoy looked down at him coldly. "You're talking about honor? About cowardice?" He snorted. "This isn't a game. It's a battlefield. And on the battlefield, results are everything." Thus, the undisputed victor of the duel, the man who defeated a god, was Alfoy. The announcer officially declared victory for Alfoy. The elder mages stared in amazement. His mana control. It has improved tremendously. It almost looks like he's casting multiple spells at the same time. Another elder could only sigh in disbelief. What kind of training did Count Fenris put him through? Vanessa listened quietly. Unlike the others, she knew the truth. Alfoy hadn't grown stronger through training alone. He had survived countless battlefields and wars. Meanwhile, Hubert was overjoyed. He burst into laughter and pointed toward Delmuth. "Well, what do you think now? Your successor was completely crushed." Ironically, Hubert himself had never expected Alfoy to win. He hadn't even planned on letting him participate. Now, however, he shamelessly approached Alfoy with a bright smile. As expected from the successor of the Red Flame Magic Tower, We've simply been too busy to keep in touch lately. You aren't upset about that, are you? Alfoy looked completely uninterested. He waved his hand dismissively. I don't care. And don't touch me. I'm tired. Hubert coughed awkwardly. What an ungrateful brat. Nearby, one of the elders lowered his head in regret. Perhaps they should have treated Alfoy better from the beginning. Pushing aside the awkward atmosphere, Hubert raised his voice. Vanessa, you're next. Be careful not to get hurt. Vanessa calmly nodded. Yes. Hubert immediately turned back toward Delmuth. Come on. Send out your remaining disciples. But no one from the Crimson Tower moved. Hubert smirked. What happened? No one left. Or perhaps you want to fight personally? Deep down, Hubert felt completely confident. After all, nobody among Delmuth's disciples possessed a higher circle than Vanessa. As long as Alfoy had secured one victory, total victory belonged to the Red Flame Magic Tower. However, Delmuth's face darkened. After several moments of silence, clap, 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 he slowly began applauding. The entire arena fell silent. Then, with a soft smile, he muttered, Bravo. His gaze landed on Alfoy, the man who defeated a god. Then he looked toward Vanessa, the genius who reached the sixth circle. His smile became terrifying. What a wonderful harvest. I've confirmed everything with my own eyes. A horrifying pressure suddenly exploded outward. For the final match, Delmuth's eyes gleamed with madness. I will participate personally. Boom. An enormous sphere of mana erupted around him. His body floated high into the air. Massive magic circles formed around him one after another. The pressure alone shattered every window inside the tower. Floorboards ripped apart. Crimson lightning surged violently across the surroundings. Hubert's expression changed completely. You bastard. Have you forgotten the sacred rules? Tower masters and elders are forbidden from participating in these duels. Surrounded by countless magic circles, Delmuth simply smiled. But didn't you invite me personally? What exactly is the problem? He even looked toward Hubert mockingly. You may join as well. Hubert could only shout in disbelief. How was I supposed to know you would actually do it? Before the argument could continue, Alfoy suddenly grabbed Hubert by the collar. Enough. Now isn't the time for this. Hubert froze. Alfoy. But Alfoy's eyes were deadly serious. Those bastards came here intending to kill everyone from the start. If you want to survive, then prepare to fight. Vanessa stepped forward. A terrifying wave of mana burst from her body. Everyone, raise your barriers immediately. I'll stop him. Ice gathered around her staff. Frost rain. Countless sharp ice drills materialized in the air. They shot toward Delmuth at incredible speed. However, Delmuth calmly formed a protective sphere around himself. Boom. The ice drills exploded upon impact. Yet Delmuth remained completely unharmed. Then he slowly lowered his hand. Blazing thunder. Crimson lightning exploded. The entire tower was engulfed by destructive energy. A pillar of scarlet lightning shot into the sky. Inside the shattered tower, a massive crater had formed. Delmuth floated calmly above the devastation. Sweat dripped down his forehead. Even he had consumed a considerable amount of mana. Miraculously, Vanessa remained standing. Her clothes had been torn apart by the attack, but she had survived. Behind her, the elders lay unconscious. Hubert had fallen to his knees. Alfoy himself had collapsed from exhaustion. Only Vanessa's desperate defense had prevented complete annihilation. To accomplish that feat, she had used Alfoy's enormous mana reserves like a battery. Hubert panted heavily. You bastard. How dare you destroy my magic tower? Delmuth narrowed his eyes. So you blocked a seventh circle spell. His gaze shifted toward Alfoy. I see. You used the mana of the man who defeated a god. How interesting. He created several more magic circles around himself. Even I suffer backlash from using such power. So tell me, how much longer can you endure? Vanessa gathered the last of her strength. Another barrier formed around her. She blocked the incoming fireballs while continuing to draw mana from Alfoy. Then she launched a massive counterattack. Delmuth instantly raised nearby debris and used it as a shield. The blast exploded harmlessly. At that moment, Hubert suddenly attacked. Die! He released all of his remaining fire magic. But Delmuth responded with air whirlwind. The flames disappeared instantly. Hubert collapsed beside Vanessa. Both of them were completely exhausted. Delmuth sighed. Fighting two sixth circle mages simultaneously. Even for me, it isn't easy. But this is the end. Once again, crimson lightning gathered around him. It was the same devastating attack that had nearly destroyed them moments earlier. Hubert desperately looked around, raised the barriers, but nobody could move. The elders were unconscious. Vanessa and Alfoy had no strength left. Despair consumed Hubert. Was this truly the end of the Red Flame Magic Tower? But just as Delmuth prepared to unleash the finishing blow, his eyes widened. Someone was descending from the sky. Using intricate mana threads, Ghislain landed gracefully inside the ruined tower. He looked directly at Delmuth. "My name is Ghislain Fenris, Lord of Fenris. I came to attend the Magic Tower meeting." A faint smile appeared on his face. "Unfortunately, it seems I arrived a little late."